Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca, and guess who's back? We got Toad. He came back because what we're reviewing today is not very scary, so he's able to handle that, and he's going to join us. Today, we're actually going to review the show Seventh Heaven again. So we're back at it again with the Seventh Heaven gang, the Camdens. And we're actually going to be looking at Season 5, Episode 2, which is actually called Help. So that's a little concerning, but we're going to take a look at it. We're going to see where everybody's at. I mean, it's been a couple seasons, so we definitely missed some things. And I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be interesting to see, how much has changed and how old all the kids are and, just see what they're up to, a few seasons later. So we're going to get into it. We're not really going to do a recap because if you've seen my other videos, I already kind of gave you a baseline of the whole group. And so you already kind of know the dynamics of it. But yeah, let's just dive in. Let's get into it. So this episode starts out and basically Matt is in college and he has a roommate named John, and he gets a bad grade in his chemistry class in college, and you can hear the professor talking and saying like that a lot of people aren't doing well, and and I think Matt gets like a D or something on his exam or his test. And the teacher's talking about the midterm coming up and like saying that, you guys really got to improve what you're doing, basically. And he's also kind of like mean about it. He's kind of like, oh, like some of you like shouldn't be there almost. So it's kind of like, okay, kind of a jerk thing to do. He's kind of a little bit harsh on that, but whatever. And so basically that's the start of the episode, is just Matt, not getting a good grade, and we're not sure what's going to happen with that, with his midterm coming up. And then it flashes to Mary, who's apparently working at the local pool hall, which they call Eddie's. And we find out because she's on the phone. She's on a payphone. Remember those? She's on the payphone. And she's calling it. She's at work on the payphone while she's supposed to be waiting tables at the pool hall. And we find out she's on the phone with her insurance company because her car insurance is behind and she needs to pay the bill, and she doesn't like have the money as it stands right now. So she's trying to get like an extension, or like, hey, can you just wait a couple weeks, or so she's on the phone with them while she's at work. So Eric is at home. It flashes to the house. And we basically find out that while Annie's back in school, so I guess while she's studying for an exam or a test, he is going to be taking over like household duties to help out so she can focus on studying. So he's basically like just, cooking and cleaning and trying to like get things done for the kids. So there's not really a surprise. There's 2 more kids now. So there is 7 kids instead of 5. So the little twins, their names are Sam and David. So I don't know if it was like the 4th season or the 3rd season Annie gives birth to twins. So that's still kind of Seventh Heaven because you got 7 kids. Yeah, so they're the 2 additions, and they're basically babies. So he's trying to take care of them too. And we find out that Ruthie's teacher wants to meet with Eric and Annie. We're not sure what happened. Like, they don't tell us till later, so we're not really sure what the deal is. Like, what did she do? Is she in trouble for something? So that's not revealed right away. And then, like, all the kids are kind of parading in. And there's Ruthie, we find out about her thing. But then Simon was apparently late for class. He's a freshman in high school. And he said that by the time he realized it's like everyone's nightmare, by the time you walk all the way down the stairs and realize you're going to the wrong classroom because it's your first day, the bell rings and you're late for class to get back up the stairs to your actual class. So I don't know about you guys, but I still have nightmares like that where like, and I've been out of high school like for like 12 years and I still have nightmares that I can't find my class, I don't know where I'm going, can't open the locker. So he's living the nightmare right now where he was late for class because he couldn't figure out where he was supposed to go. So he's adjusting to being a freshman in high school, and we can all relate to that, I think. It's very unfortunate. But so he's upset, obviously, and he's like, yeah, it's not really going well so far for him, I guess, in high school. And then Eric's dad shows up, who we haven't talked about yet, but his name is, well, they call him the Colonel because he used to be in the Marines, so they call him the Colonel. That's his thing. So he's Eric's dad, and I think he has a sister named Julie, I want to say. So he has like Eric has one sister. And then there's the Colonel, and then it's just the Colonel though. Like I don't think his wife shows up, Eric's mom. So everyone's kind of curious, like why is he there? Because he just randomly showed up. So everyone's like, why is the Colonel here? But he's there. It feels like he's there for a specific reason, like he's gonna tell them something, or he wants to help with something, or like he's just being very mysterious. And so he's like, can't I just come visit? And they're kind of like, no, but like he did anyway. So there's that. So then there's a scene which I really didn't need to see of Eric dancing around the kitchen listening to the worst music I've ever heard. He's like cleaning, cooking, dancing. No one wanted to see any of that, but we had to, so that was there. And it feels like the Colonel's already judging. He's like one of those judgmental dads. I think you know how judgmental parents can be. Eric is telling the Colonel how Annie is studying because she's back in school, and basically the Colonel's like, Annie's back in school again? What is this, 4 degrees now? Like, come on, bro. It's probably 3 more than you have. Like, what are you trying to say? So, whatever. Like, Annie's out here trying to better her life, trying to educate herself, and you're gonna go say that? Like, I'm sticking up for Annie. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty team Annie on that one. So anyway, kind of a jerk move, and Eric kind of like snaps back and is like, why are you here? So good for him, I guess, on that one. Like, I don't agree with a lot of the things he does, but yeah, for that one, I'll take it. He doesn't really tell him why he's there. He's kind of mysterious about it still. He's like, can't I just visit my family? And he's like, I guess, but like, I don't know. So like, he's not really giving much away. So we still don't know why the Colonel's there. The mystery continues. The next scene is Matt and his roommate John. They're at the pool hall, and Mary is like their waitress, I guess, because she's working there. And we find out she's taking a year off from school, so that's why she's working at the pool hall to make some money, and she's not going to school right now. So, which a lot of people do that. People take like a gap year, so not a huge deal. Apparently, like, she found out that the Colonel is there at the house, and she's a little like worried because she knows she's gonna get like some sort of lecture from him about not going to college right away or at all or whatever. And also, like, her parents aren't too happy that she decided to take like a year off. Like, they know they can't totally like force her to go to college, but they're just a little, I guess, worried about her decision, and they think she'll come around eventually to going to college. So everyone's like, Eric and Annie are a little bit worried. The Colonel, she thinks that he's there to like lecture her, which he kind of is, but everyone's kind of afraid of the Colonel's lectures because he's a little more harsh than Eric and Annie, because, that's Eric's dad. So everyone's a little like on edge and not looking for, like, even Matt, who doesn't even live at home anymore, he lives with his roommate. He's like, I'm not gonna try to go home because I don't need a lecture from the Colonel right now. So everyone's avoiding the Colonel, and we find out that Lucy has been nominated for Homecoming Queen. And also, they mentioned something about Matt previously, or I think it was previously, being engaged to Heather. And they don't really, elaborate on that, so I'm not sure if they're already broken up or, what's going on with that, but they don't really touch upon it too much in the episode, so I have to think that they're not really involved if he doesn't really mention it too much. So Lucy has been nominated for Homecoming Queen, and Simon is so sad. It seems like I said, he's not doing well with going to high school. So he's he doesn't really have a lot of friends in high school, which is kind of unfortunate. But it's a tough time. It's a tough time in your life, So he's struggling with that, and Lucy comes up with an idea that can help both of them. So Lucy is, it seems, a senior in high school, and she has the idea, because she's trying to get nominated for Homecoming Queen, she has the idea that Simon can help her run the campaign, the homecoming campaign. Didn't really know that was a thing. I mean, I know in the movies they put up posters and stuff when the election's coming up, but I guess, they're taking it real seriously in high school. And so he's gonna help her with her campaign to be Homecoming Queen. He agrees to this idea because she thinks it'll help him make friends, because he'll be out there handing out posters or flyers or buttons or whatever, and it gives him a chance to make some friends and get to know people, and they'll know oh, that's your sister, and Lucy is actually pretty popular, so she thinks that'll help be oh, that's your sister, so then people will start to talk to him more, because that's your sister, she's popular, and then he'll start getting more popular, I guess, as a result. So she's trying to help him out, and he agrees, so they're going to go ahead and he's going to help her out with this. Then we flash to Ruthie and the Colonel talking, and she basically tells him that the teacher in the class made her basically called her stupid. And I just think that's messed up. You can't, that sticks with someone, if you're gonna say that. I feel like that'll stick with you for life if you say something like that. So as a teacher, that's really not great. That's not looking great for that teacher. And, the Colonel is basically trying to help with that, but then also trying to get some dirt on Mary and what's going on with her, because that's part of the reason he's there. He wants to talk to Mary. He wants to try to get her to go to college and do things that way. So that's kind of why he's there, and that's kind of what the revelation is. I'm don't do it, Ruthie. Don't give him the dirt. You gotta stick with your sister, but she's young, so she probably, any reason to, reveal some gossip or, talk crap about your sister, you might want to do it when you're a kid. And she's basically so willing to give dirt on Mary and everything. She's like, where do I start? So she tells the Colonel what's going on. And then we flash to basically in the next scene, Mary goes into her boss at Eddie's, the pool hall, and she says, oh, by the way, sorry, I've been on the phone a lot at work, got this whole insurance thing going on, can't pay it, in time. And she basically asks for an advance on her payment, which, I mean, let me know in the comments, but if she's a waitress, she's just making whatever it is an hour, $2 or $3 an hour plus tips. So how is he gonna advance that anyway? I just didn't really understand how that was gonna work. But she does ask him can you advance my pay? Which I don't think that would work for a waitress, but whatever. Because, like, how were you supposed to know how much in tips she was going to be making? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So, anyway, she asked him for that, and he's like, no, I can't do that, basically. And then he tells her that he needs to talk to her about something. And he makes her shut the door of his office. So that's not looking good for Mary. Poor Mary. She's really going through it this episode. And then it flashes to Annie and Eric. And they're working on getting Ruthie out of this class because they find out, you know, that the teacher's calling her stupid, and, like, Ruthie's really not getting along with this teacher, and I totally understand. Like, that's messed up. You can't be telling kids that they're stupid. Like, even if they are, it's not right to, like, say that. Like, I feel like every kid deserves a chance to succeed. So, I can understand why they're upset and they want to get her out of the class. And it's really weird because it's like the next morning and the Colonel stayed over, right? But, like, Annie and the Colonel greet each other in the hallway and, like, hug like they just saw each other. Like, he had just arrived there, but, like, he hasn't. So I don't know if that was like why, like, I don't know, like, if someone's staying at my house, like, I might hug you when you first get to my house, but I'm not gonna hug you in the morning. Like, you were already here all night. Like, I don't know, it's just, like, maybe when you leave, but I don't know, I just thought it was kind of weird that they just, like, hugged in the morning. And I was like, alright. But anyway, they hug in the hallway. And then the Colonel spots Mary in the hallway, and she's been avoiding this, obviously, because she doesn't want to lecture from the Colonel. And she basically, like, because it's insinuated, like, we don't know officially what was said in the conversation with her boss, but it's kind of insinuated that she probably got fired or laid off or something, so probably not good. And she basically lies to the Colonel and says she's busy that day. Like, she doesn't have work. Like, she said something about how, like, her mom's like, oh, don't you have work? And she's like, oh, no, like, it wasn't busy today, so they didn't need me at, you know, at Eddie's or whatever. It was slow today or something. And so she makes up a lie and says she has to help her friend move so she doesn't have to spend time with the Colonel. So she's basically trying to get out of, like, interacting with him, which kind of sad, but also, like, if he is known for his lectures, I don't know if I'd want to deal with that either. So, but anyway, then we get to the next scene, and there's some teenage girls that are trying to flirt with Simon as he's giving out the flyers for, like, oh, vote for Lucy for homecoming queen. So I guess it's kind of working, like, he's getting the attention of people, you know. And they basically, like, these two girls are like, oh, it's so great that you're, like, Lucy's brother, like, she has such a great brother, like, whatever. They're weird. But anyway, they basically invite him to a party. And I was thinking to myself, like, I didn't know that the Camdens went to parties. Like, I just feel like the way that they are, I wouldn't think that they would, like, maybe they're invited to them, but I wouldn't think they would actually go to parties. Because, you know, there's drinking, there's all that stuff, and, you know, that's a big no-no for the Camdens. I feel like they're not allowed to go out and do that kind of stuff. So I was very surprised that Simon was considering going to a party. Or any of the Camdens, really. I was kind of surprised by that. Okay. So, after that scene, everyone is, like, asking Mary if she can afford to have a day off from, like, the pool hall. Like, she could control it anyway. Like, I just feel like if they told her it was too slow and she can't work, she can't work. Like, I don't know what else you want her to do. But Eric, Annie, everybody's like, oh, like, don't you need the money? Like, you know, so it's like, they're all just like, can you afford to have a day off from, like, Eddie's, basically? And she's getting defensive, obviously, because she's like, oh my gosh, like, it's not my choosing, basically. You know, I basically got fired or whatever it was. She's like, I didn't want this to happen. And then it goes to Matt, he's basically like, we know that he didn't do well on that exam. And it seems like he's trying to blame everyone else for what is going on, like with him not succeeding in chemistry. He's trying to blame his roommate John, he's trying to blame Heather, but he's trying to do that. He's trying to blame his mom because she couldn't do his laundry. He's trying to blame John because he didn't clean the apartment, so he had to clean the apartment and this and that. And John's like, bro, like, no, you know? He's like, you did it to yourself. He's like, you got to start taking ownership of things that, you know, are only under your control. Like, how are you going to sit here and blame everyone else but yourself? You got to try to figure it out, you know? So, John's just speaking facts. And then we get to the next scene, and we find out that, like, Eric goes to the school because he's trying to get Ruthie out of, well, Annie's trying to study. So he's like, you stay home. I'm going to go out, and I'm going to meet with I think it's the principal of the current school that she's at to try to get her removed from the class and put her in another class because this teacher is calling her stupid, so it's really messed up. And basically the principal is like saying that he's recommending that she move to a private school because they think that she's very advanced, apparently. So apparently she's getting bad grades because she's kind of like bored. She's ahead in the material, I guess, so she's kind of not paying attention as much because she feels like she's so far ahead. So they think that she's advanced and she should go to this private school, which none of the Camdens have gone to, like, a private school yet. So it's different for Eric and Annie. They're like, oh, this is weird, you know? And then we flash to the next scene where Simon realizes that I think that these girls are inviting him to a party because they want Lucy to come too. So they're like, oh, you're going to bring your sister, right? So I guess because she's popular, I mean, high school things, you know, the high school things that are important, I guess, if you think back to when you were in high school and being popular was a big thing. So they want somebody to notice them. They want the popular group to notice them. So they're like, oh, like, bring your sister, you know. So he feels like he's getting invited just so he can bring Lucy, unfortunately. So then it flashes to the Colonel and Annie having a conversation, which the conversation that happens I'm kind of shocked about because I wasn't expecting it. But you know how I said the Colonel was kind of judging earlier when he was talking to Eric, saying like, oh, Annie already has 4 degrees, like, why does she need another one? Yeah, what is this, like the 4th degree she had? Like, whatever. So anyway, now the Colonel and Annie are talking about it, and they're having a conversation about how she's, you know, going to school, whatever. And she's like, what? So Annie's like basically like waiting for him to say something. So she's like, what? Like, what do you want to say about this? About me going back to school? She's like, you don't think I should have gone back? And the Colonel's basically like saying that he compliments her on her like ambition and drive to like get these multiple degrees, which, you know, I agree with that. And I was shocked because earlier he's like, oh, what is this, the 4th degree? Like, it's just like, okay, bro. So I guess it was a little bit of a turnaround, or we misunderstood him earlier. I don't know. But anyway, he's like, I like admire your ambition. He's like, I just wish Mary had that ambition. So he's turning it back around on the whole Mary thing too. So it's like a compliment, but also like a little bit of a dig at Mary. So this is a good scene. This next scene, Mary is at the park because she told everyone she was going to help her friend move because she's not working today. And she's like holding a newspaper because I think she's looking for a job because, you know, the whole other thing. So she's sitting on a bench and this older gentleman like sits next to her, and he basically asks her if she's like there on her lunch break. Like, he's like, you know, like, he's just trying to make conversation, you know, he's like a friendly guy. And he says, like, he comes to this park every day. I guess he's, like, retired. So he's like, I come to this park every day. He's like, oh, I've never seen you before. Kind of a weird thing to say, but, like, whatever. Like, sometimes people just want to talk, so whatever. And then basically Mary, like, she's so defensive. Everything's triggering her. She just freaks out on this guy that she just met that's sitting next to her on the bench. And she's like, she basically shouts, like, that she was fired. She's like, no, I don't have any lunch break. I don't have anywhere to go. I have nothing to get to. Whatever. You know, she's like, she had to confess to someone, I guess, that she's fired. So she had to, like, get it out there, which we kind of already knew with context clues, but she had to tell somebody, you know? So she's, like, kind of screaming, like, standing up, talking to this guy. Then she apologizes, like, immediately after. She's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I'm just really stressed out. You know, I'm going through, you know, this part of my life right now, just trying to get things figured out. And he's very nice about it. He basically says, like, because she said, like, she was looking for a job or whatever. And he's basically like, oh, my son's going through that right now. You know, he's like, he just got out of college. He's saying, like, it took him a while to find a job, but then he eventually did find, like, a really good job with benefits. He's like, it'll be worth the wait. You'll definitely find one. But he doesn't know that she graduated high school and not college. So he doesn't know she's not in college. So he's, like, you know, trying to be helpful and basically saying, like, yeah, he eventually found a good job. And he said, no matter what, my son will always have his college degree to fall back on. So it's kind of like insinuating that, like, oh, she should go to college, you know. So, which, like, I know he doesn't know, you know, all that, but, like, about her not going to college, but I feel like it's just hitting so hard in this time period where they just, like, told everyone they had to go to college. And it's just, like, I don't think it's for everyone. You know, there's so many different paths, and I just feel like it's not the only way. So it's just, like, frustrating to, like, the way they're digging into this so much. It's like, you know, and that's the way it was, like, for me growing up, too. Like, everybody's like, go to college, you know. But, like, there's so many different paths. It's like, it's not the only way. It's not the only profitable way. And then you have all these loans. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I feel like this is heavily relying on go to college. The whole go to college sentiment, and it's, like, kind of frustrating because, like, there's so many other paths in life. So, but anyway, moving on from that, he like, she admits to him that she just graduated high school and she doesn't know if she's gonna go to college, and the look on his face is like she just, like, murdered someone, like she just, like, pushed someone or, like, hurt someone or, like, kidnap someone. Like, it's just, like, he's so upset by this statement, but, like, he's so dramatic about it. But anyway, he's like, oh, okay. He's basically like, oh, okay, good luck, and then walks away. And it's like, all right, good luck, Mary.